Namaskar, I am Dr. Manaan Gandhi and today we will talk about a condition that's affecting millions of people worldwide. That is about the thyroid gland. We're talking specifically here about hypothyroidism, which is when the thyroid stimulating hormone that is secreted from the pituitary gland is overproducing TSH, causing a lot of complications.
What is the hypothyroid and how does it affect the human body?
So hypothyroidism is a condition where your pituitary gland, which is supposed to secrete a hormone that stimulates the thyroid gland. So the hormone is being produced by the pituitary gland, but it's stimulating your thyroid gland. And when the pituitary gland is not getting the work done from the thyroid glands, it secretes an excessive amount of thyroid stimulating hormone, which is TSH. And because it needs to secrete so much TSH in order to make the thyroid work, that itself is called hypothyroidism. Hypo means lesser. So the thyroid is working lesser than it should, which is making the pituitary gland produce more TSH. The symptoms that you will face when you're suffering with hypothyroidism are the most common things would be dryness in the body. Your metabolic rate will reduce because thyroid is responsible for something called as BMR or basal metabolic rate. And as your metabolic rate reduces, your digestion, although you will be able to digest food, but the food will convert more into fats, leading you to generally gain weight. You sometimes may not even gain weight, but you will still be extremely fatigued because everything is not being processed very well. And these metabolic diseases are very, very bad, but not in the short term. They're very bad in the long term.
Why does the hypothyroid occur frequently now?
There are multiple reasons why hypothyroidism exists, but first of all, there are multiple types of hypothyroidism. So there is hypothyroidism that is there because of an autoimmune problem, which is called a Hashimoto's disease, wherein your own immune cells are attacking the thyroid, and that is probably causing the thyroid to work a little lesser, causing your pituitary gland to get frustrated with your thyroid gland and produce more TSH in order to make it work a little better. Then obviously there is the regular hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism is generally demographically seen much more commonly in females than in males, and there are multiple reasons why it happens.
What are the reasons for hypothyroidism to occur?
The reasons could be diet specific. It could be lifestyle related, wherein it is probably the fact that you maybe don't exercise enough or you're not very active, life is very sedentary, or that there is some sort of excessive stress that triggers a gene, and that gene can trigger hypothyroidism. And because it comes from genes, hypothyroidism can be genetic, which means that this gene can be passed on from either your mother or your father's side. There are actually a lot of misinformation when it comes to thyroid glands. People come out and say that you can't eat cabbage or that you can't eat, carrots, something. That's not true. You can really have all your vegetables. It should not, will not be a problem. However, if there was something that you would want to avoid, I would probably say it should be brinjal and maybe bhindi, which is ladyfinger, okra. These two shouldn't be had too much. Also, kanda. Kanda is, I think it's called purple yam, should also not be consumed regularly, although most places it's not consumed regularly. But try and avoid these things. Otherwise, even if you do consume this in limited quantity and occasionally, there is no problem.
How are digestion and liver health connected to thyroid?
See, thyroid is a metabolic disease. So all the factors, whether it's the gastric part or whether it's the liver part or whether it is any other part of digestion or if it is cellular or tissue level metabolism, every single metabolism is controlled by the thyroid gland. If the thyroid gland is not working properly, you can have problems in all of these things. You don't necessarily have to have problems in all of them, but you definitely can. So there is a connection. If you have one metabolic disease, chances are that you will probably have another. So you will find a lot of cases wherein a person is diabetic, they also have a thyroid problem or a blood pressure problem or a high cholesterol problem or a heart disease. So one manifestation is not the end. I mean, the doshas can manifest themselves in multiple different organs and in multiple different ways, causing multiple different diseases. However, when we look at the root, is what Ayurveda does. We figure out that even though you have BP, sugar, thyroid, cholesterol, heart disease, etc., PCOD, all of these we consider them as, what we call as X syndrome diseases. In Ayurveda, they're all very similar, and the treatment of most of them are very similar because we are treating again the root. We're not treating merely the manifestation of the disease.
What tests can be used to detect thyroid?
Normally, a hypothyroid patient, we are focusing on the TSH levels because that is showing us how the thyroid is working based on the amount of TSH level the pituitary has to generate in order to make it function. However, the thyroid gland produces T3, T4 and calcitonin. So people who are suffering from hypothyroid problem or in general a lot of thyroid problems, if not all of them, they cause havoc on the body's calcium channels. So you will see that people who are suffering from hypothyroidism, their bones become brittle, calcium levels start reducing, so they will start seeing a lot of hair breakage, hair fall, dental issues will start coming because that's also calcium related, nails will start becoming brittle and they're susceptible to osteopenia, osteoporosis, various kinds of fractures. Their body starts becoming brittle, skin starts drying up. So a lot of these things also get affected because thyroid is also responsible for the calcium in the body.
How does Ayurveda help thyroid better than modern medicine?
There's a huge difference in the way Ayurveda looks at thyroid and allopathy looks at thyroid. See, in allopathy, most of the medicines, if not every single medicine, created in order to suppress your symptoms until nature comes in and cures. So for example, let's say I get a cut, I have a pain in my finger. So I'll be taking painkillers for 3 days until nature comes and cures. The medicine doesn't cure. Cure always happens with nature. But the medicine is suppressing the symptoms. So in 20 minutes I'm relieved of this pain. And the minute this pain comes back, I pop in another painkiller. But there are certain diseases that if you wait long enough, they don't go away. For example, diabetes or hypothyroidism. So in allopathy, the only solution here is you keep taking the medicine for life. There is actually no cure. All they are doing is managing and suppressing it. In Ayurveda, we try to go to the root of the problem. And in thyroid cases, we've been very, very successful because we've tried to identify where the thyroid is stemming from. It could be somatic, it could be psychosomatic, it could be merely psychological, or it could be genetically transmitted. So whether it's heredity, whether it is psychosomatic, somatic or merely psychological, the entire treatment is catered around your thyroid rather than a thyroid. Which means that we're not treating every thyroid patient, and with thyroid I definitely mean hypothyroidism here, in the same manner. We're treating them as unique case studies, and which is why we are much more successful because the chances of us going to the root are significantly higher.
Which doshas are responsible for the thyroid?
In a TSH or a hypothyroid disorder, it is generally the kapha dosh along with the vata dosh that is a little high. Also, pitta dosh normally does not feature here very prominently, but there are a few cases where pitta dosh has an impact, but it's definitely not the primary dosha of the disease.
What are the early signs of thyroid according to Ayurveda?
So hypothyroidism is basically a metabolic disease. What we are focusing on is not to get the TSH values normal, but to ensure that we get your metabolism at par. Automatically the other things get settled. So for example, when we are talking about some doshas being imbalanced, we are not focused on the manifestations of those doshas. Rather, we are focused on the doshas itself because the manifestation automatically gets better if the doshas get balanced. So, I mean, that there's a very subtle yet a very marked difference.
Which Panchkarma treatment is beneficial for the thyroid?
For thyroid imbalance, we normally use Vaman. Vaman is emesis. So, medical emesis I think is very, very useful.
Can Ayurvedic treatment completely cures thyroid?
Absolutely, we can completely cure thyroid issues. In fact, we've cured it for multiple cases. Does that mean that your thyroid is going to get cured? It really depends. We have to identify the root cause and we have to work on it. And do not, for a lifestyle disease, expect the doctor to do all the work. It will be a joint effort from the doctor and the patient. Because it's a lifestyle disease, there will definitely be lifestyle changes involved. But if you are willing, then we are willing.
How long does it take to completely cure thyroid through Ayurvedic treatment?
With Ayurveda treatment, there are two different categories I would put hypothyroidism here in. If it's an autoimmune problem, it's definitely going to take much longer and it's going to be a little more complex because here the psychosomatic elements are a little higher. But when we're not looking at an autoimmune or a Hashimoto's kind of thyroiditis, then the improvement is, it really depends on how severe the disease is. But the improvement should take about 2 to 3 years on an average, wherein we should be able to pretty much either solve or drastically reduce the dosage of Thyronorm or Eltroxin that a patient is on, or maybe even just remove the disease completely. So about 2 to 3 years is something that is good expectation management for an average patient. So now that we've discussed this very important subject of hypothyroidism, I would like to know what your thoughts are. What are your experiences? Please write them in the comment below. And if you feel that this kind of a video is probably adding some value to you or someone's life, you could probably hit the like button. It really helps us know that you want such videos. And subscribe to this channel if you want to know more videos of these things. All of what I say is probably not available to the general public. There are a lot of things that are known only to the top Ayurvedic doctors in the country, and they may or may not share them very freely depending on what they feel people should know. However, I'll try to be as transparent, as informative as possible, as educational as possible, and I'll try to answer all the comments down below. And this is Dr. Manaan Gandhi. Namaste.